What seemed to be one of the most steady positions for the Detroit Lions last year definitely has some changes coming, and that's the running back room. And the news I'm going to give you is definitely going to shake up the Lions backfield next year. And here's what I want to start with: a forewarning on this video. If you are a Jamal Williams slappy, and no matter what anybody says, and no matter how much money it costs, you think we must bring back Jamal Williams no matter what, you might not like this video, but I need you to listen to it for a little bit because I'm kind of in between on this and what to do with Jamal Williams. So in this video, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at what Sport Track says his estimated valuation is going to be for his next contract. This is a good way to say, here's what we think he's going to make. So we're going to talk about what we think he's going to make. We're going to talk about if he's worth it. We're going to look at the numbers, and we're going to take a deep dive in some of the stats. And then we are going to also factor that into what he brings to a team on a leadership level, and why he also, many believe, should be the priority in re-signing because of that leadership that he has with the team. So first, let's look at what he would be valued at based on I don't know how else to say it. This is their player market valuation for various NFL players. And here we have our running backs that are going to be, that they actually care about. Swifty, they're saying 4 years with an average of 6.5 a year. That's steep. Jamal Williams comes in under that. You might say, why? Like, he was better than Williams or better than Swift last year. Well, he's 27. So instead of a 4-year contract, they're going to give him a 2-year contract at $8.355 million with an average salary of $4.177. In other words, $4.2 million. So here's what you're looking at. I want you to remember those numbers: $4.2 million per year for 2 years. Then you're out of the contract when he is 29 years old, and you continue on, and you're okay after that. Is he worth $4.2 million? I'm going to start off by saying yes. Yes, he is. But there's a caveat to it. I want to look into the stats deeper for all of us, because I think a lot of us just look at last year and we'd see the 17 touchdowns, breaking Barry Sanders' record. We see the emotional talk on Hard Knocks, and we just fall in love with the guy. And what we forget to realize is that outside of 2 or 3 games, he was really struggling to run the ball with consistency. He is a running back that is an average running back. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So don't turn this video off right now. He's an average running back that when he has a above average line, he can become an above average running back. Like, that's the way it goes. He is a good running back that will do and see what is put in front of him, and he will make the most of it. He's not going to make a ton of people miss. He's not a burner. He's not going to run through everyone. He will run through a guy or two, but he's not going to run through everyone. So let's look at the stats and let's see what this guy is. So I have his 2 years with Detroit are on the bottom here. He stayed much healthier this year, played in all 17 games, which we all like to joke. The best of it, ability is availability. And he absolutely was that last year. But I want to put your attention to a couple spots. For starters, he rushed for over 1,000 yards. That's kind of like that special barrier. Like, is anybody going to get over 1,000 yards? Now, if it was only a 16-game season, he wouldn't have made it. But he was really close. He was at like 980. It was a good campaign. But then you have to start asking yourself, how did he get there? How did he get there? He got there with an average of 4.1 yards per carry, which is 0.1 higher than his average. This is a guy that, if you look at his time from 2017 in Green Bay all the way up until the last 2 years in Detroit, that has been hovering right around 4 yards per carry. He's never deviated from that by much. His rookie year is 3.6, then 3.8. Then in 2019 with Green Bay, he was 4.3, then 4.2 in Green Bay. Then the last year, 2 years with Detroit, it's 3.9, 4.1. This is what he is. He is a 4 yards per carry guy. He is a good short yardage back. He's not great, but he is borderline great short yardage back. He was ridiculously effective, running for 65 first downs. That is a ton of first downs. That is a ton, and he got it into the end zone. He struggled. He was not a big part of the passing game this year. So we have to look and take all of these things into account. It's that simple. So when we look at a guy like Jamal Williams, the question we have to ask ourselves is how much is he worth and for how long? You also have to ask yourself the question, what are you doing with Swift? Because if your plan is to be done with Swift after next year, then Williams could be a great 2-year option where it's Swift this year and then a rookie next year, and he's that stabilizing force in the backfield. I think that's a really good play for him at $4.2 million per year. I would try offering him a contract somewhere in the neighborhood, again, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 years, anywhere from 7.5 to 8.5 million. I believe he's coming off a 2-year contract that was worth somewhere around like 6 to 6.5 million. So he's used to making 3 million a year. His overall production has gone up because he's gotten more carries. He is a more prominent part of the Detroit Lions backfield than he was with the Green Bay Packers. So, and again, we can look at these stats. They're still here. When we look at this, I just want you to look at rush attempts. With Green Bay, he was 153, 121, 107, 119. All right. He was injured quite a bit in his first year with the Lions, and he got 153 and then 262 last year. Like, we need to look at this. Attempts per game, 11.8 and 15.4. These were by far his biggest years. But everything else, and I need to be clear on this, stayed the same. He is not a better running back than he was when he came here. He's a running back who has the same yards per attempt. He is a running back who still is a good short yardage back. He is a running back that is still very limited in the passing game. That's what he is. That's what he is. So if that's what he is, and he was worth $3 million the last 2 years, he shouldn't be worth $6 million or $8 million the next 2 years. It's a running back. And people are throwing out numbers like pay him 6, 7, 8 million. Great. But if you're paying him 8 million, Chark, see ya. Evan Brown, bye-bye. Right? Like, it's going to hamper you with different guys. Anzalone, Bugs, like Will Harris. You can't bring back all of these guys. So you need to Kaminsky. So you're looking at these things, and you have to ask yourself the question: at running back, is it worth paying a guy 6, 7, 8 million? My answer is no. But man, I love Jamal Williams. Oh, I love him so much. So your heart wants to tell you yes, but that is how you eventually have a losing football team, because you overpay guys for what they bring off the field, and they can't bring it to you on the field. He is a $3 million running back, a $3.3 to $3.5 million running back. That's what he is. And I'd be happy to give him $4 to $5 million because he does great things off the field, but I'm not willing to double his valuation because of what he does off the field. You can't, that's too much. It's too much. So I love Jamal Williams, not at 8 million, not at 7 million, maybe at 6, at 5 or below. I really like Jamal Williams. All right. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And don't forget, memberships are live on the channel. We'd love to have you be a member here. It's a great way to fund the channel, and it gives you awesome perks. Go ahead and check that out under the membership side, and we'll see you on the next one.